Alright everybody, welcome to week number 5 of the Erie Draft League. This is Jacob, the coach of the Cleveland Krookodiles, and this week we are playing against Mike, the coach of the Topeka Togepis. So we do lead off with our Landorus versus Registeel, and we are coming out for blood this week. We definitely want to make sure that his Pokemon that we just turn around our losing streak. So we do lead off with our Earthquake, which does a ton of damage. It almost one-shotted, honestly. And he goes for Hammer Arm instead of Rocks for some reason. So he does decide to go for Protect. I don't know if he's just trying to delay the inevitable, maybe just try to PP stall me a little bit. I thought he was going to swap, so I went for the knockoff just in case he brought out like Talonflame, thinking I was going to Earthquake. So with that, he finally does go for the swap, and I believe I go for the knockoff against his Dragonite here. Yes, okay, so we do get the knockoff. We get rid of his Lumberry that he brought in the week prior against Coach Ian of the Cincinnati Cyndaquils. He goes for Dragon Slide. It does a pretty good amount of damage. I go for the Rock Slide. Dragon Claw, my bad. And that just obliterates Dragonite. It was a crit, so the crit honestly probably did matter in that case because it was pretty high up in HP. If it's the same Dragonite I helped him build, though, then it did not because it was all attack and speed. I go for U-turn here because I know that the Swampert is probably a very similar variant of the wall that we faced before, and I thought he was going to Scald, so I just went into my D-Drizzle here just to eat that up just fine. So as you can see, that did, what, 16 damage, so I can, that's like a 14-hit KO, probably even, honestly, like more than that with leftovers. However, Swamperts are ground type, so they are more than likely also going to be carrying a ground move on them. So I figured, hey, he's just going to go for straight up damage. He's going to go for EQ. So why not just go right back into Cornelius? That way we will lower down his attack stat and the Earthquake will miss. So, at this point, we're kind of playing it. We're trying to play this little game of, hey, I know what the move you're going to do is. So I go for U-turn again, and this time I believe I expected him to think that I was just going to go into the Drizzle again, so he would go for Earthquake. I totally overcomplicate things, and I go into my Wheezing Purple Haze. Now, Purple Haze eats a Scald to the face, which is quite unfortunate because it is physical, defensive, not special. So it does a pretty decent amount of damage, but the burn is the thing that I'm really pissed off about. At this point, I'm like, without bringing in my Cleric, Purple Haze is going to be absolutely hosed. And this week, you didn't see, the team preview at the beginning or anything like that, but my Cleric this week is actually Jolteon. And my Will-O-Wisp missed, so that was another just, like, sick, nasty part of this whole ordeal. It's just that Purple Haze is just not having a good time right now. He does carry Pain Split. I believe I go for that right now, just trying to get the most out of this burned Pokemon's limited existence at this point. But yeah, I initially thought about trying to keep this thing alive and just going for, like, some kind of Wish support. I mean, not Wish support, Heal Bell with my Jolteon to clean it, but I didn't think at the end it was worth it, especially after how much damage we can see that Scald is doing. I can't really survive another one of those without getting beast moded too hard. Now, at this point, I'm like, alright, well, I can Pain Split again, I guess, or I can swap out, and I guess I'm just going to swap. I feel like he was going to go for Rest or maybe another Scald. I can't quite recall. Okay, so he just goes for Scald again. And that does, again, like we noticed, a very, 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 very small amount of damage. So, I'm trying to get into his head right now. I'm trying to figure out exactly what style of battle he's trying to play right now. And at this point, I just stay in. I'm like, maybe I can get a burn off the Scald. That would be nice if I could. And we do, which is very awesome. He goes for the EQ, just expecting straight damage. I probably should have gone back out to one of my Flyers, but with the burn, that doesn't do too much damage. But that was actually a crit, so that ignored his physical drop. So that actually means that Empoleon D-Drizzle tanked that like a boss. Alright, so at this point I'm like, that burn is nice, but that, I'm kind of expecting him to rest, right? So I do go for this Scald, hoping that I can take him out. He survives in just a sliver. He does go for the rest, so I can confirm in my mind that it is the exact same Rest Sleep Talk variant that I helped him team build in the week prior against the Cincinnati Cyndaquils. At this point, I'm kind of expecting him to either swap or stay in to go for some Sleep Talks. And I kind of figured that if he stays in EQs, that would probably be really bad for me. So we do just go into Dusty, our Gentino here, and I believe with Sleep Talk he gets off in Earthquake, I want to say. Yes, so he does go for Earthquake. Luckily, he's at -1 attack right now, so Dusty actually takes that extremely well, and then just drops in the Bullet Seed, and that is going to do the most heinous of damage to this Swampert. Easily take him out after 4 hits, I mean after 3 hits even. So, go ahead and chalk one up to Cincino, Chinchino, whatever you want to call it. It's like a chinchilla to me, so I'm going to call it Chinchino. But we do get the knockout there, and comes in the Hitmontop. Gets the Intimidate drop. He doesn't know I'm Choice Banded, but, you know, I am. So that's just something that we're going to have to deal with. We do go ahead and swap out because we're locked into Bullet Seed at that point. I figure we can give up Purple Haze as just, you know, a free Pokemon. Like, hey, you can have it. That's fine. He goes for Mach Punch. I actually survive. I believe the burn might end up taking me down. Maybe not with Black Sludge. I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, so I live on 12, and I just decide, you know, like, hey, I'll just go for a Will-O-Wisp, see what happens if I survive. Unfortunately, I don't. So that's Purple Haze going down, but you know what? He did what he was supposed to do. Just getting burned was really unfortunate. We do bring in Dusty now, and we just go for this Tail Slap, and at this point, I'm praying that it does enough. As you can see, you know, it's going to be a really close one, whether or not it does. We get some better rolls as going in through the back, and we do get it after 5 hits. So knockout to the Hitmontop. Now there's no way for him to clear out rocks. He did not, however, bring Talonflame this week. I'm not exactly sure as to why he didn't, but he did not bring it, so that is that for us. He does go for the Protect here. I would just figured I was going to go for Tail Slap, just, you know, to see how much damage it actually did, because Registeel actually has a very low amount of health in the first place right now anyway. So I figured, it might kill it, it might not, you know, we'll see. Dusty already kind of played her part. But since he's going to try to Protect stall me out, I figured I might as well just switch out into Virgil, because there's not much this thing can do. He does get his Stealth Rock set up, which is a little bit unfortunate for me, just because I will have to be careful to not make the same mistake that I made last week against Stealth Rocks of bringing my Charizard in right on them. That's actually 2 times I did it this season, so I'm hoping that I can get away and not do that again. I actually went for Volt Switch here on accident. I clicked Thunderbolt. I meant to click Thunderbolt. But his Protect actually lets me stay in, which is nice. So we do go for the Thunderbolt here, and I believe this takes him out? No, so he did get to survive, which means that he definitely would have survived off of the Volt Switch. So he goes for Toxic, and I'm like, alright, he's going to try to Toxic stall me the same way like he did to, you know, the Cincinnati Cyndaquils, just trying to Protect, stall everything out. So, expecting the Protect, I figured, you know, this is as good a time as any to reveal the fact that I do have Heal Bell on Virgil this week. So we do go for the Heal Bell, which is a, you know, a great asset to our team. I believe we're the only team that's actually used a clerical move at this point in the season, which is actually kind of mind-blowing to me because, personally, I hate status, and anything I can do to stop status, I always try to do. He gets the Protect off again, and I'm like, dude, come on. Why are you getting all these 50% hacks to keep this thing going? I'm like, there's no way he's going to get it again. If he does, I will be absolutely mind-blown. I do go for the Volt Switch. He didn't even go for it this time, expecting himself to fail it. Volt Switch does take him out, which is good. And I purposely wanted to kill him out with Volt Switch because he does have Choice Scarf Ditto. So I wanted to make sure that my Jolteon was not out for an opportunity for Ditto to come in. So I do bring in D-Drizzle, hoping that if he brings in the Ditto, he's just going to copy the speed of Empoleon. Jolteon will be faster, and Jolteon will be able to put him down with a couple of Thunderbolts. He instead goes out for Beyblade, his slow bro, oh my god. At this point, I'm like, alright, there's probably nothing he can do to me. He's probably got like Ice Beam, a Water move, Psychic, and Fire Blast. Probably Slack Off in there as well. So he goes for an Ice Beam. It really doesn't do that much. It did 10 damage on the nose. And at this point, I'm like, alright, well, I got rid of my rocks, so that's nice. Maybe I can get some up on his side just to do a little bit of chip damage as we go through, as he no longer has his Hitmontop. He let it go pretty early. So, he goes ahead and goes for Slack Off, but his HP is already full, so that is, you know, unfortunate on his part. But, you know, it is what it is. He made a prediction that I would do some damage to him, and he was just going to heal it off. So we do go for the Scald here. It does pretty much no damage, which is unfortunate. He goes for Psychic, and luckily we are full special defense, so that doesn't really... actually, I think this week we're not full special defense. I think we might actually be mixed on the Empoleon just to be able to take the Earthquake a little bit better from Swampert. Regardless, we see that that's not really yielding much result, so we do go out into our Jolteon instead. He goes for an Ice Beam. He hasn't Mega'd yet either, which is really interesting. We do take that quite nicely. We go for Thunderbolt, and that is quick to drop him down. I don't know when he was planning to Mega. I don't even know if he had a Mega item on that Slowpoke. Slowbro. Oh my god. But, you know, it is what it is. So he brings in Ditto, and at this point, I believe this is his last Pokemon. So he does, you know, he's going to go for the Dream. All he has is Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Hidden Power Grass, and Heal Bell, however. So knowing this, I bring in Cornelius. I'm like, alright, he's probably going to go for an Electric type move, so we'll just go ahead and swap him to Cornelius. Worst case scenario, we take a Hidden Power Grass, and I'm sure we'll survive that. So he does go for the Hidden Power Grass, and at this point I kind of derped a little bit. I forgot that the Jolteon is not actually... that his Ditto's Choice Scarf. So I was like, oh, okay, he went for Hidden Power again. He must have just predicted me to stay in and let it go. And, you know, I stay in because I'm like, you know, that's fine, whatever. Instead of just going out to my Charizard knowing that he would do absolutely no damage, it was at this point it dawned upon me, oh, wait, you're Scarfed. Duh, there's nothing you can do against me at all. So I just go ahead, I bring in my Charizard, Dovahkiin, go ahead and get the Mega Evolution off. And with that, we're going to hit that Flare Blitz button. I believe he goes for a Hidden Power Grass here one more time just to get that speed and Scarf. He outspeeds me anyway. So he goes for the Hidden Power Grass. As you can see, we tank that pretty well. It actually does surprisingly good damage. We go for the Flare Blitz, and that takes him out, which gives us our momentum going back, swinging into week number 6, I believe, coming up soon. So with that, you know, GG to the Topeka Togepis. It was a well-fought battle. You know, there were some very questionable moves that were done, but you know, at the end of the day, I can't be more proud of how much better of a battler Mike has become since we started all of this. So, you know, just keep on going for it, man, and hopefully you'll find some more wins in your future. But yeah, good game.